son. I got to do better than this.
Lights out.
Sacking the cornerback is just like you devastate a city, or you cream a multitude of people. I mean, it's just like you put all the offensive players in one bag, and I just take a baseball bat and beat on the bag. So each time he came over there, I tried to tear his damn head off.
Let's play some football. Let's play some football.
The pressure is on. This is Off the Edge on Tide 100.9.
Focus on what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. Think about that. Don't think about how you feel, how tired you are, how hot it is. You got to push yourself on the field like when you're playing football.
It's my honor to present the National Championship Trophy to Coach Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
To me, this is the ultimate team. All these guys bought into everything they needed to do to be the best players that they could be. There's more togetherness on this team than almost any team that we've ever had. And they had to overcome and persevere so much adversity through this season, and they've done it magnificently. And I'm so proud of this group for what they've been able to accomplish and going undefeated and winning the national championship.
Streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and the Tide 100.9 app. Here is your host of Off the Edge, Jacob Harrison.
Your man overthrown. Spit out the ball.
Hello there. Good morning. Welcome into Off the Edge, Tide 100.9, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. I am Jacob Harrison. It's a wet Monday out there, but I'm excited to be in the building this morning. We're going to break down Jahleel Billingsley, who everybody seems to be very, very excited for. Caught on late in the season last year, but the difference that he can make for this Alabama Crimson Tide team this year is something else. I got some opinions on the transfer portal. I've seen some people over the weekend have been kind of hating on it out of nowhere, and I don't fully understand why. But we'll get into that. Big news with the number one overall recruit in the 2021 class. We'll break that down here in just a second as well. But as always, the show is streamed live on the Tide 100.9 app, which is available to your Apple and Android devices. Just go into your Apple Play App Store or your Google Play Store, search up Tide 100.9 and enjoy that, because it will give you all the access to all the content that we have for you here at Tide 100.9, all of the written content, staying up to date on the latest news and analysis concerning the Alabama Crimson Tide, both, those that are here on campus in Tuscaloosa and those that are professional or at the Olympics or what have you, as well as on the air all day long, as well as all of our podcasts as well. Of course, let me tell you about Alabama Vintage, AlabamaVTG.com, at AlabamaVTG on the Instagram. Today is the last day to take advantage of the 50% off sale. Almost the entire store, nothing in the display case and nothing as far as the very expensive memorabilia that does line the walls. But as far as your hats, your t-shirts, sweaters, starter jackets, sweater vests. Who wears? I'm not going to hate on people that wear sweater vests. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go there. Shoes, you name it. 50% off in the store. Whether you need Alabama Crimson Tide apparel, professional apparel, you name it. Charlie's got it in stock for you there at 2210 University Boulevard in the heart of downtown T-Town, across from City Hall. So last night, I got excited. I'm looking, how are we going to fill out the week? How are we going to dive in? Who have I not analyzed that I know fans are excited to see? Who are we expecting big things from? And without a doubt, that would be the number one tight end for the Alabama Crimson Tide this year, a 6'4", 230-pound guy, built like a running back, can return kicks. First play of the game against Kentucky. You can go to the Twitter account at JHarrisonOTE. Check it out for yourself. Hurdles a guy on the sideline like he's Najee Harris, man. He's got it all. He's dynamic as it gets. And we've only seen, the surface of what he's capable of. His athleticism is through the roof. And this is a new age of tight ends. We all see everybody's already kind of crowned Kyle Pitts as one of the best tight ends to ever play the game at a college level, and for good reason, to be honest. Dude brings something special to the game. Here's the difference, though. And a few people have pointed it out in that thread. Kyle Pitts can't block. Cannot block. You can go back a little bit deeper into my Twitter escapades with videos. Will Anderson blew through his ass, put him through a running back, and got the sack, one of the easiest sacks of Will Anderson's career, right? In the SEC championship. Kyle Pitts can't block. Absolutely cannot block. He's a glorified wide receiver. Great tight end. Like, he's a unicorn athlete for a reason. Nobody's making that up. But with Jahleel Billingsley, you still get 6'4", 230 pounds of guy that plays the tight end position and does it well. Now, that being said, there is some refinement that needs to be made within his blocking. He's got it there. You see the aggression to a point. One of the videos that I point out, he gets in the hole with a sweeping pull block and gets up the middle and hits a linebacker, puts him on his butt in the turf, and the linebacker just so happens to get a leg on, or gets a hand on Najee Harris's ankle, and that kind of, that's luck on the part of the defender, because Jahleel Billingsley put his shoulder through that guy and got the job done. There's the aggression factor there. It can be overdone. You can't be overly aggressive without technique. He gets the technique part down here and there, but that's the difference that you want to see from year 1 to year 2 as far as being an on the field player, because when it comes down to it, this is a team that runs the ball, prides itself in being a powerful running team. Bill O'Brien, he's still going to run the ball. I know I've talked about it. Just because Bryce Young is a younger quarterback with less experience does not mean that this team is just going to turn around and hand the ball off to Brian Robinson and the running back core 400 times, throughout the season. That's not necessarily the case. But you do want to see effective run blocking from your tight ends, because we know behind him, Cameron Latou is a good blocker. We know that behind him, Major Tennyson is a good blocker. And those guys were on the field last year in packages, as well as the guy that transferred in from North Carolina and Miller Forrestal. Like, those were the guys that were out on goal line packages, not Jahleel Billingsley. So it kind of takes away a little bit from the opportunity to get better at those positions where you're just firing off and trying to drive ahead. But throughout the spring and throughout the summer, excuse me, he's had those opportunities to continue to improve on that. And we've seen it in games as well. You go back to the Kentucky game, you go back to the Notre Dame game. Didn't block as much in the Notre Dame game, but these are the two games that I watched closely because I knew he had big impacts in both. When he does put his hands on a guy, he's not going to get a lot of push, but he's still going to be able to control the defender and allow the back to formulate a hole and make a play off of that. And that's exactly what happens late in the Kentucky game. But at the same time, when you put all that together, like, there's a reason tight ends are used the way that they are, often as decoys or as surprise outlets or whatever, right? It's because of the mixing of the blockings, play actions. That's why tight ends are the quarterback's best friend. You can turn around and find a big tight end very quickly when you're set to go back and look down the field. And when you're able to couple together good blocking and you're able to sell that you are blocking and then burst down the field with the explosiveness that Jahleel Billingsley has, that's a difference maker. Those are the kinds of things that you can't necessarily coach outside of the blocking aspect of it, the acting aspect of it. But those are the types of things that can lead to massive plays. You look back at the Kentucky game, the example that I provided on the Twitter account at JHarrisonOTE is just that. That is a 10-yard dump off pass that goes 25 yards because he blazes by everybody, because he's an impressive athlete, because he's so explosive. And then at the end of the day, you've got to be able to make the plays when they matter. And he's got soft hands. He's right mentally, because we saw it twice in the season. We saw it against LSU. We saw it against Notre Dame, where he gets wide open on this deep crossing pattern in a play action play, and wide open. Nobody sees him. Creeps in behind the linebackers, between the safeties, finds a hole in the zone, and he's gone. He's gone. But the ball hangs in the air from Mac Jones. He's not going to rifle it into you. He's going to give you, something that you can just drop right in the breadbasket and catch easily. And that's what Jahleel Billingsley does. he's able to take advantage of those opportunities rather than squander them. So you hear it all the time, and you see it in the NFL quite often, where those easy ones are the ones that get dropped because you're thinking about how to catch the ball rather than just going and getting the ball. And that's something that we've seen from Jahleel Billingsley, that is not a problem. This guy gets it. He is fully capable of having such an incredible season and going out and winning a Mackey Award or going out and becoming a consensus All-American, those types of things. He has got the goods. Now, you can look across the country. You can even look within the Alabama Crimson Tide's own tight end room. Weidermeyer down at Texas A&M, head and shoulders right now believed to be the best tight end in college football, and for good reasons. He does everything well, has a prototypical body build for the position, and gets the job done for the Aggies. And then you can still look on the Crimson Tide roster. Look at Cameron Latou. Look at Major Tennyson, who's been here forever. These guys are no scrubs either, and they will contribute in their own way. And I'm very excited to see what Cameron Latou brings to the table. You with SEC Media Days got to get a little preview of it. 12 personnel. We have 2 tight ends on the field. With Cameron Latou and Jahleel Billingsley, you're going to be able to fool defenses a little bit because of their skill sets being similar but so different at the same time. Cameron Latou is a great athlete and a good blocker, but we saw it in the spring game where he gets behind the defense similarly to Jahleel Billingsley, and it's a touchdown. And he's able to break tackles in the open field with brute force as well as athleticism as well. There's plenty to be excited when it comes to Cameron Latou, but pairing him with Jahleel Billingsley, 2 tight end sets are so deadly. Why do you think Bill Belichick tries to formulate that again and again and again after seeing how successful it was with Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez? Because it's so deadly. It's so hard to defend. Thank you for that. Because it's such a problem for defenses. It's so... Thanks, Brian. You completely killed me. I was on a roll, and you completely killed me.
I'm sorry. I'm really
oh, my
sorry.
God, your face, man. I didn't realize what I said. Thanks. Should not be laughing about this. I'm laughing at the situation of what just transpired here.
Words are funny.
Right. Words are funny. But when it comes down to it, there's a reason you want those two dynamic tight ends on the field. It's because defenders, no matter how good, no matter how athletic, it is so hard to defend, to cover a seriously impressive tight end. The NFL still can't figure it out. They have looked at safeties. They have looked at linebackers. They have looked at everybody that they can possibly imagine to figure out how to cover a good tight end. Just a good one. Not to mention the great ones. Antonio Gates is one of the greatest tight ends of all time, right? Not a super athlete by any stretch of the means. But he's one of the guys that wrote the playbook on how to play the position. You use your body. You use your strength to get open against smaller DBs. And you use your athleticism against linebackers to make good cuts in your route running. And those sorts of things, where if you can make yourself uncoverable by some of the best players on the field on the opposite side, that's a game changer. And Jahleel Billingsley is already at that point. I do want to see a little bit more diversity in his route tree. I want to see stronger cuts, and I want to see him get more consistent as a blocker. But overall, man, this guy is one of the best players on the offense. I don't think he gets talked about enough, but it is clear from the Alabama fan base that this guy is for real and that they want to see the same things out of him. They want to see a guy that is dynamic enough to make plays week in and week out for this team. And I'm kind of curious now, if we're all so excited about Jahleel Billingsley, what kind of stat line do we want to see for this guy? 50 catches, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. I mean, all the touchdowns. But I'm very curious to see how it plays out there with Jahleel Billingsley. I think he has got the goods. He's got it within himself to be another first-round draft pick at the tight end position. And, O.J. Howard, probably the best tight end to play in the Nick Saban era, without a doubt. Irv Smith Jr., no scrub either. But watch out for Jahleel Billingsley, man. This guy's got it all, and he is ready. He is ready to make some plays for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Your phone calls, 205-342-9904. Super Joe's already on the line. We'll get to him next, right here, Off the Edge, Tide 100.9, your home for for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
I said Chantilly lace and eggshell, not matte.
Colby's interior design consultancy is floored with new clients.
Wait, what am I looking at here? This looks like plaid.
They need an admin with an eye for design and a knack for numbers.
Okay, hey, look, take a look at this. Do those numbers look right?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Screen for quality candidates with the skills your role needs with Indeed assessments. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Touchdown! Alabama wins!
The Alabama football countdown clock is driven by Crawford Insurance, Tuscaloosa's low-cost auto insurer. Call 752-6489 for a free quote today.
Well done! Well done!
There are 33 days until Alabama football.
Dominate!
Before the action begins, make sure your bets are in. Every hit.
This ball is crushed.
Every point.
Who are they giving to? Touchdown!
Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino revolutionizes the fan experience. On your phone, casino kiosk, at the Timeout Lounge. Don't just be a fan. Be a player. Be a winner. Get to Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
Good morning, privates!
Good morning, Drill Sergeant!
I mean, seriously, what a pleasant morning. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping.
You seem to be in a good mood today.
Astute observation, Private. Astute.
He's probably happy because he found out Honey Nut Cheerios can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
So, in lieu of the obstacle course today, I propose a nice meditative nature walk. Does that sound delightful to everyone?
Yes, Drill Sergeant!
Have a change of heart with Honey Nut Cheerios. Learn more about Honey Nut Cheerios by picking up a box at your local store.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers and thunderstorms this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds, the high only at 85. For tonight, becoming mostly fair with the low at 64. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny with only a small chance of a shower, the high 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 76 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Follow Off the Edge on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for live streams and instant analysis. Off the Edge with Jacob Harrison continues.
We are back here on Off the Edge, Tide 100.9, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Jacob Harrison here with you. Bryant Horn, Mason Woods in the house as well. Going out to your phone calls, 205-342-9904. No guests today, so we're welcome to hear your thoughts and opinions on Jahleel Billingsley. After our conversation with Super Joe, though, got some big news concerning Ohio State's top quarterback recruit and what he plans to do concerning his senior season of high school football. But first, Super Joe, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, everything all gravy, man. Man, thanks for taking my call, partner.
Absolutely, man. What's on your mind?
Man, I'll tell you what, the way we hitting up in the recruiting, man, jumped up. What we number 2 or 3?
3 the last time I checked. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's great because we're gonna get the number 1 class. There's no doubt to that.
Yeah.
And the way we hitting up on the tight ends, so the Billings. I mean, I guarantee you, every senior, and every junior gonna have a real breakout season in Alabama. I mean, they say right now we're concerned about our offensive line. They might show a little jitters for the early, maybe the first 2 games, but it'll come back up. It'll come. The offensive line will come right back up. There's no secret to that. Because our offense ain't gonna really drop off no much. It ain't gonna be that much, different than what it was last year. It might come down some, but the defense is gonna be, explosive. I mean, we got the pass rushers coming out. I mean, it's like we got a predator on one side, the alien on the other. The beatmaster in the middle. You know how that's gonna be. The Loggins monster holding on the secondary. Shoot, I mean, that's why I'm so excited about the season. But that's why I'm probably gonna start laying a little bit down, a little bit here, a little bit there for the SEC championship. A little cash here, a little cash there. Me and my buddy, we want to go and pitch in. Like I said, put in for the SEC championship. Put in for the SEC championship. Pitch in, get our tickets early and stuff like that. 'Cause I have my bus trip paid for by the time it hit November.
No, I hear you, man. And going back to the offensive line, what gives me confidence about the offensive line is the fact that at SEC Media Days, Nick Saban did something that he doesn't normally do, and that's say that Javion Cohen's probably going to be the starting left guard. Like that's unprecedented. He doesn't do that. Now we still have some questions as to who the right tackle is going to be, but my biggest concern going into the season was who was going to be the left guard, who was going to be the right tackle, and we've already got an answer to left guard in Javion Cohen. It's just a matter of whether it's Damian George at right tackle or J.C. Latham or Brockermeyer or whoever. But you can guarantee yourself that before we get halfway through the season, the best 5 will be out there, and then you calculate in all the talent that surrounds them that they're going to be blocking for, and especially Jahleel Billingsley right there on the edge with them, who's going to be able to go out in patterns and make a lot of plays. The running back core behind him, John Mechie, Trayshawn Holden, Ajayi Hall out on the outside as well. That offense is just as talented as any other in college football. It's just bizarre to see such a turnover for them that it's what brings a cause for concern. But you can talk to all the national guys in the world, and they're all looking at this Alabama Crimson Tide team and saying we're not sleeping on them, not for a second.
No, because I'm gonna look at it like this. I'm gonna say it like this: we're in a little fresh water, and I say, and we got a whole new different species of crocodiles, and letting you know, Roll Tide, because it's Lake Placid time. It's Lake Placid time, and I say this. I still say like that. I guarantee by the end of the third quarter, that Miami they'd be so banged up. Miami probably going to the wrong huddle doing the play calling. I believe them jokers. Miami's not going to be ready for this physicality. I really don't think they will. I say with all fairness, if I was the Miami Hurricanes fan, I just say we can go ahead and put a substitute opponent. I just really don't think they're going to be able to handle this.
I think Miami's they've got some talent, but I don't think they've got the talent to stand up with Alabama. And we're only 35 days away, 34 days away from Alabama versus Miami. I will say, don't sleep on De'Aaron King. Even if he's at 80%, 90%, he's still going to be able to make plays against even this talented defense with the Alabama Crimson Tide. But overall, Alabama still, even with all the turnover offensively, they've still got the biggest shot out of anybody to go back to the national championship and repeat. Super Joe, man, I really appreciate it. Take it easy, partner.
Take care, partner.
Absolutely. Super Joe on the phone, 205-342-9904. So, it had been circulating a little bit, through Twitterscape this morning, a lot of speculation that the top high school quarterback for the 2021 class would indeed skip his senior year, and that would be Quinn Ewers. And Pete Thamel about 20 minutes ago, did confirm it, that Quinn Ewers will be skipping his senior year to enroll early at Ohio State. He will be a Buckeye within a matter of weeks. And he's in the 2022 class, not the 21. Sorry. Within a matter of weeks, he's going to be an Ohio State Buckeye. He's going to be competing for the job. He's not going to win it. It's CJ Stroud's job, as far as I'm concerned. They've got 2 other guys that have been competing too. But at the very least, though, for him, smart move, right? You can't discredit an athlete doing what's best for them. That's why I'm so befuddled by the thought of people being so negative on the transfer portal right now. But when you look at what Quinn Ewers is doing, Thamel and Yahoo Sports say he's expected to make nearly $1 million within the next year from endorsements, very similar to Bryce Young. You look at 247 Sports, a .9999 rating to go along with his 5-star rating. That matches Trevor Lawrence and is only outdone by the only 1.0 quarterback they've ever had finish with 247 Sports, and that's Vince Young. That's insane, right? To just take a step back and realize what Ohio State is getting with Quinn Ewers, but they're also getting him a year early, which means effectively they've got him for his senior year of high school and are going to get to redshirt him, and he's going to be ready to go next year as a freshman, which would have been his true freshman year. And that's insane to think about. Full advantage Ohio State, full advantage Quinn Ewers. Is it bad? I don't think so. because you've got to be, first of all, you've got to be academically inclined to even do that to begin with. He's only got to take one English class. I assume he took it over the summer, to make sure that he could get this done. And he had to take it online, right? So it all works out for him. It's good for him, but he's the only guy doing it. Next year, you might see one or two guys do it. I know throughout, the history of time, you'd look back and you'd say, well, Jadeveon Clowney would have probably done that, right? Like, there's a lot of guys that are just can't miss athletes. Trevor Lawrence, being one as well, where you come through and you're the number one overall pick out of high school. We know where your career is going to be in 3 years. And more often than not, that comes true. It came true for Jadeveon Clowney. It came true for Trevor Lawrence. So it's not totally bizarre. I don't think it would happen enough to be such a cause for concern. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, it's the day that kid walked into South Lake Carroll High School, he was set for success.
Right.
I mean, South Lake Carroll is essentially the modern day of Texas. So they know they have this, good high school football programs have that accelerated high school path. It's just like college,
Yeah.
Alabama players finish their degrees. I've seen them finish in 2 years?
2.5, 3 years, because they're able to go during the summer now.
Yeah, exactly. So they know exactly what they're doing.
No doubt. And I mean, what's the difference in Quinn Ewers doing this and just going out in the workforce? Well, you would say, well, college football is not supposed to be a workforce. It's not supposed to be a job. And I would say that's laughable because they make billions of dollars for other people. And now they just make money off of who they are and the reputation they've built for themselves. And this is what I've been talking about. They are a brand unto themselves, regardless of the logo that they commit to. Quinn Ewers did this for himself. He played well enough to be an Ohio State Buckeye, no doubt about it. But it doesn't matter if you would have picked Ohio State, Alabama, USC, whoever else is a part of, his choices. I know he's been committed to Ohio State for a long time. But he did that for himself. He was the one that was able to be the difference maker in whether or not he could be able to pull something off like this. Not Ohio State. And that's where it shows through with NIL. Well, yes, it's not making this crazy impact. Folks saying that paying players or NIL in itself is going to destroy college football. It's not true. It's far from it. There are people that are not going to be cut out for it. There are people that are not going to be able to handle it correctly. There are people that are going to fail because of it. But this is survival of the fittest. This is football. That is what it's built on, is the ability to adapt and overcome and work together. Use a team around you in order to use success. If you tackle NIL all by yourself, you're probably going to get screwed. But nonetheless, with Quinn Ewers, this is a huge, huge win for him. That's 1 year earlier you're in the NFL. That's 1 year earlier you're in college doing already what you were going to do. Because who's to say he plays his senior year and he tears his knees to shreds? And then he misses not only the remainder of that senior season, but possibly most of the next season as well with the Ohio State Buckeyes, because he's not getting the quality treatment at the high school that he's at, which I'm sure is still a high-profile high school, no doubt. But it's not on the same plane of reality as Ohio State and the medical staff that they would have to employ for him. All of these things, they all fit together. As a human being, it is in your best interest to do what is best for you at all times. And if this is what's best for Quinn Ewers, I'm not going to hate on him, because this is reality. This is America. This is the land of opportunity, right? This is his opportunity that he made for himself. There's nothing more American than Quinn Ewers taking one English class and going to Ohio State early, redshirting, coming in 2 years from now, probably after J.C. Stroud is in the NFL, and saying, this is my team. I've got a year to prove it, and I'm going to go out and make millions of dollars later.
I'll be the first one. It's a running joke on shows that I'm on that I'm a traditionalist in most aspects, but I don't like it. It doesn't sit right. It's the same energy as a high schooler for going college in basketball and going straight to the NBA. I get it. I'm not going to rag on him for it.
For going college and going to the NBA, why would you? It's
I'm getting
dumb
to a point,
in the first place to only have to go for 1 year.
Look, all I'm saying is, I mean, Quinn Ewers, he has the opportunity, I think, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, to be the youngest player in the NFL, right?
Well, he's 18 now, so he would have been 19 anyway. So no,
oh,
because he still got to be out 3 years.
Oh, true. Yeah,
I mean, we've seen a lot of 20-year-olds go into the NFL.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be one of those things that in 5 years, this is going to be a lot more common, and it's not going to feel as weird.
It's not going to be more common. We're talking about one of the highest rated quarterbacks ever out of high school.
Which me and Mason made a good point. This kid's going to flop. You see how these stories work out. It's hard to live up to those expectations.
Trevor Lawrence had the same exact expectation.
Yeah, that's one kid.
Jadeveon Clowney had the exact expectation.
In the NFL, though, he's not nearly.
His sacks numbers don't stand up, but his pressure count does.
Yeah, but I mean, he did go through a lot of injuries, so I won't knock him against that, but he got injured.
Go tell the Texans to put down better turf. That's what derailed his career at the beginning.
I'm not arguing whether or not the Texans need to get better turf or not. I'm just saying got injured.
I mean, stuff happens. It's football, dude. Everybody, you get hurt.
Well, I'm not knocking him for the injury.
But that's like saying, well, Tua's injury prone. Dude, 300-pound guys landed on his hip in just a way that it simulated a car accident. You're going to have to miss me with that, Brian, that it just doesn't sit right. Come on.
Doesn't.
Because it's new. That's why it doesn't sit right. It's unprecedented.
Yeah, that's exactly why it doesn't sit right, because it's new. I literally just said that in 5 years, this is going to seem a lot more normal.
No. I think every time you see something like this, it's groundbreaking. Because there's only so many guys that can even attempt to try that. Just because you're the number 1 overall recruit doesn't mean that you're academically inclined to be able to pull something like this off. And just because you're the number 1 overall recruit doesn't mean it's in your best interest to do these things. All I'm saying is that, is like I said a second ago, you're a human being, you're an American, and your best interest is you and yours. Go take advantage of it. Go do it. Otherwise, what's the point? Why are you playing football in the first place? For the team? For the team that you're not a part of yet? You're playing it for you. Yes, it's a team sport. Yes, you have to live and die by the team. I'm not discrediting the team. But everybody that plays football, everybody has selfish intentions. Because it's unavoidable. Because there's millions of dollars at the end of the rainbow. Hell, there's millions of dollars in the middle of the rainbow now with college. Why?
I'm not going to straw man, but I mean, it's possible that if you do it right, I don't know how this kid managed to take this many courses over the summer.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
if it's available, what's the problem?
You're going to see a junior do the same thing?
Doubt it. I mean, time is still a construct.
Time is indeed. Things are constantly happening, but yes.
I'm just because new things happen doesn't mean that they're always bad. Sometimes you got to step back and look and see if it's bad. This could be terrible.
Because I've been fully.
You're saying it doesn't sit right?
No, I've been fully supportive of NIL. I've come around to Texas and Oklahoma. I don't mind new things. It just doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right.
I mean, I'm not excited by any means that he's already going to be there, and I question the decision on a playing time front. Because J.C. Stroud is a redshirt freshman himself. Is it CJ or JC? I keep going back and forth. Either way, Stroud at Ohio State is a redshirt freshman himself. So he's got the job for 2 years, most likely. Unless we see a similar situation with Justin Fields and Jake Fromm, and Ryan Day says, I'm not going to fall into that pitfall. I'm going to play the best guy regardless of who did what the year prior. But Quinn Ewers, at the very least, is looking at possibly being on the bench for 2 years. One of those years would be a redshirt season. It's still very, very rare on its face to begin with to be a star caliber, redshirt sophomore. But I mean, there's a questionable decision behind it, but on the forefront, like, you can say that, oh, the money's ruining it. Oh, the money's ruining it. Oh, no, not people making money. And all I hear is jealousy out of that. Let the guys go make their money.
Hell yeah, there's jealousy, man. I wish I was making 7 figures like that.
I do too. Like, I wish I made a hell of a lot more money doing this. But at the same time, like, this is what I chose to do. He chose to play football and became damn good at it. And when that means make a lot of money. There's nothing else on the other side of that. Especially when the suits make all the money. You want to talk about money ruin college football. It's the fact that the suits made all the billions of dollars and they didn't give back to the athletes. And now they had to fumble their way through a way to make sure that the athletes got their share. And even still, technically, they're not getting their share. They're making it off their own backs and their own efforts.
Fully agree. The amount of just pure unadulterated cash that comes into these college football programs is just, one, it's ungodly. And two, the fact that it's basically going into the program's pockets and those players aren't seeing any of it is criminal. But that's being fixed. So but you're right. Money is ruining college football, but it's not the money people think.
I didn't say money's ruining college football. Don't put that on me. I did not say that. I was taking the arguments from other people that don't add up.
Right. I'm just saying that I've heard many people say it's stupid that these players are getting the money right away. It should go into a trust. So once they graduate college or whatever, which is just stupid.
Why?
It's stupid. Listen, as a freshman, I had to get a part-time job. I was able to earn money, then go into a trust account. Let the players make money. Good God.
Stop. At the end of the day, you've got to stop with the idea that they're kids. And I had this conversation with my mother-in-law the other day. They're not kids. Yes, they are dumb young adults, but they're 18 years old and older for a reason. Like, you could very well send them out to be a welder, and in a year, they're going to be making a lot more money than a lot of the population, and nobody cares about that 19-year-old having all that money. Nobody cares about that 19-year-old having to do taxes. Nobody cares about the trials and tribulations of that 19-year-old because they're not in the public eye and because they're not playing football. Ain't nothing gonna ruin college football. It might change. The traditions might change. The scope through which we look at it might change, but it ain't gonna die. It ain't gonna fall apart. The NCAA would never, on any scale, no matter how corrupt or how dumb the NCAA could possibly be, will never do anything to break college football. And nothing that has happened to this point is going to break or has broken college football to any degree. I keep hearing the sky is falling, but I keep looking outside and all that's falling is rain. Because it's an annoyance to a degree for some people, but it helps others. We'll take a break. We'll tie it back into the transfer portal because that's been all over the place over the weekend as well. And I don't get that one either. Your phone calls 205-342-9904. This is Off the Edge. I am Jacob Harrison. Got Bryant Horn and Mason Woods with me here on the show. We'll be right back right after this.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-419-2387. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387.
Everything is better at Benton Nissan. At Benton Nissan of Bessemer and Benton Nissan of Hoover, you get even bigger selection. We have more than 180 new Nissans on the ground awaiting immediate delivery. Even bigger savings. With financing as low as 0% APR across our most popular models. Plus, every new Nissan comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Drive a little, save a lot. At Benton Nissan of Bessemer and Benton Nissan of Hoover.
Benton Nissan, your friend in the car business.
For well-qualified customers, see dealer for details. N7621.
Before the action begins, make sure your bets are in. Every hit.
This ball is crushed.
Every point.
Who are they giving to? Touchdown!
Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino revolutionizes the fan experience. On your phone, casino kiosk, at the Timeout Lounge. Don't just be a fan. Be a player. Be a winner. Get to Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
I said Chantilly lace and eggshell, not matte.
Colby's interior design consultancy is floored with new clients.
Wait, what am I looking at here? This looks like plaid.
They need an admin with an eye for design and a knack for numbers.
Okay, hey, look, take a look at this. Do those numbers look right?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Screen for quality candidates with the skills your role needs with Indeed assessments. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Before the action begins, make sure your bets are in. Every hit.
This ball is crushed.
Every point.
Who are they giving to? Touchdown!
Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino revolutionizes the fan experience. On your phone, casino kiosk, at the Timeout Lounge. Don't just be a fan. Be a player. Be a winner. Get to Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
Everything is better at Benton Nissan. At Benton Nissan of Bessemer and Benton Nissan of Hoover, you get even bigger selection. We have more than 180 new Nissans on the ground awaiting immediate delivery. Even bigger savings. With financing as low as 0% APR across our most popular models. Plus, every new Nissan comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Drive a little, save a lot. At Benton Nissan of Bessemer and Benton Nissan of Hoover.
Benton Nissan, your friend in the car business.
For well-qualified customers, see dealer for details. N7621.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers and thunderstorms this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. The high only at 85. For tonight, becoming mostly fair with the low at 64. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny with only a small chance of a shower. The high 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 75 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to Off the Edge on Tide 100.9.
We're back for more, Off the Edge, Tide 100.9, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. I am Jacob Harrison. Got about 15 minutes to go. 205-342-9904, the phone number to call. Join the show, lend your opinion, your thoughts. Quinn Ewers skipping his senior year of high school football to go play for the Ohio State Buckeyes within a matter of weeks. And we're less than 30 days, or we're about 30 days away from the start of college football. As it is, if you count week 0, and you should count week 0. It's college football. We're football fans, right? We're fans of football. All football, good football, good football. We're fans of good football. Nonetheless, with that in mind, it sort of leans into all the other evolutions of college athletics, right? And the concerns with many of the things. Now, I saw this thing from Chris Hummer, who we featured many times on the show, national college football writer for 247 Sports. And he's got the article up there as well. Of the 480 Power 5 scholarship players 247 Sports studied from the 2019 to 2020 cycle, only 26.5% of them stayed as a scholarship player on a P5 Power 5 roster. This, of course, is players that are 4 and 5 stars that go into the transfer portal and where they end up on the other side. Another 26.3% signed with Group of 5 programs, and overall 47.2% of the Power 5 scholarship athletes went to the FCS, junior college ranks, or did not find a landing spot. So among the 826 scholarship players in the FBS that 247 Sports examined, only 37.8% even stayed in school at the FBS level. Like, this may come as a shock to a lot of people. Not everybody is cut out to be a Division I football player. Other football teams have scholarship limits, and they can't bring everybody in. It's not a guarantee that just because the transfer portal is open and you can immediately play next year, that you will land with a team. It is not a guarantee that you will land with a team that even needs you. Is the transfer portal dirty? A little bit, yeah. As soon as your name is put in there, and you don't even have to go talk to coach about it, you can just put your name in the transfer portal. And as soon as you're processed and your name goes up on the board, coaches from all across the country can start recruiting you again. And it's nice to feel wanted, especially when you're upset about your playing time or you're homesick or whatever other reason. Academics aren't going well. Whatever the reason is to get in the transfer portal, because I'll tell you what, for normal college students, there's a gazillion reasons why they need to transfer. And family issues are sometimes at the top of the list. So you have no idea why half of these guys go into college, into the transfer portal. We assume that it's always for playing time, but that may not always be the case. But, I mean, go back to a guy like Tate Martell. How many teams has Tate Martell played for? How many? It's insane, right? I can't even tell you where he plays now. He's going to UNLV, right?
Yep.
Going back home to play for the Rebels of Las Vegas. And
Running Rebels.
You trying to tell me what my hometown team is here? Yeah, it's the Rebels. We can call the LSU Tigers the Bayou Bengals. They're still the LSU Tigers. Come on, Brian, get with the program. Either way, you're telling me that Tate Martell, who was a top flight prospect and had the world buzzing, goes through and he's not a Division I quarterback. He's not. He's terrible. There's a reason he hasn't been able to land at Miami or Ohio State or wherever he's been. He thought he was big time. He wasn't. Because here's a fact. Here's a thought. Sometimes the guys that give the ratings to high school players, they miss too. It's the same. Like, sometimes you get to the NFL and you're not good. It is not my place nor anybody else's to look at anybody that goes into the transfer portal and feel bad for the ones that can't come out on the other side. I can't do it because it's a personal decision to put your entire playing career at risk over whatever reason you're going into the transfer portal. Because regardless of the situation, as I said, other programs only have so many spots. They only have so many spots. They can only take in so many players. You look at Alabama, they've only brought in 2 transfer players, and they had to lose about 7 or 8. But what we ignore are the 7 or 8 that land at other programs, because they've all landed. We ignore the fact that they've landed somewhere and are going to contribute to lower teams despite being better athletes. But those were decisions that those athletes had to make because, as I said in the previous segment, you've got to do what is best for you on a personal level, regardless of the circumstances. But sometimes what's best for you is the realization that you can't play at the Division I level. There are only so many spots. It's a risk. It's a risk. And yeah, the rich will get richer, but so will the little guys with the dispersion of players that realize they can't play at Alabama. They can't play at Clemson. They can't play at Ohio State. They can't play at Oklahoma. They can't play at the blue blood, blue chip, elite traditional programs. They're not good enough. It happens. And you tell me why those guys who aren't good enough, if they want to leave, should be forced to stay or to go, or if they choose to go somewhere else, they have to wait a whole year just to play. None of that makes sense. None of that adds up, especially when the coach that they're real good buddies with, that's their position coach, could leave at any second to go take a better job. And you could say, oh, well, I wasn't aware that college athletes and coaches were on the same playing field because the coaches actually have a job. Yeah, well, the other guy is 18, 19 years old, and he's got to get his life on track so that he can get started. And we're trying to control that with all these incomprehensible rules that make no sense. It's his job to make those kinds of mistakes. It's his job to go out and make success for himself as well. It's not the NCAA's job to govern how exactly that guy gets from one point to the next, because the NCAA doesn't care about whether or not you make it to the NFL. The NCAA doesn't care about what you've got going on back home. They care about you staying in school and graduating because it's good for numbers, it's good for viability, and it's good for the bottom line, right? That's what they care about. So why on earth does it matter so damn much to all these other things? Real quick, Brian.
Yeah, I was going to say, first of all, you could have ended the sentence that the NCAA doesn't care.
True.
Ends, period.
True. Yeah.
I was going to say also, I've seen the word quitter a lot in the past
Not
week
true.
and a half of media, in sports media. First of all, it doesn't mean you're a quitter at all. There's a lot of factors that go into transferring schools because that's what it is. How many people that went to university had a friend that had to transfer before they got their degree? Second of all, people that like to criticize these quote unquote quitters because they're the same people that think that participation medals are stupid, yet they're saying, why don't you just stay on the team and get yourself a national championship ring? That's essentially being
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
yes.
so much.
That's essentially a participation trophy. If you think that you can start at another school, maybe it's smaller, maybe it's Division II, and you think you can make a difference, then that's a whole hell of a lot better than riding the bench all 4 years and not getting a chance to play at the next level.
If you want to play, there are plenty of guys that go to Alabama with the full intention of never getting on the field, right? Gardner Minshew almost transferred to Alabama simply to become a better coach, right? Went to Wazoo instead. Now he's in the NFL. Not a particularly good NFL quarterback, but hey, those were his decisions, right? And it made sense for him, right? You've got to do what's best for you. And I appreciate the participation trophy, because a lot of arguments that are against everything in the evolution of college football, when you really look at them for like 5 seconds, you realize that there are arguments that go against everything that those people tend to stand for. George Macon, I've got about 3 minutes for you, guy. What's going on, man?
Okay, just a few comments. As far as the player at Ohio State, my only concern is I really think that he probably developed better spending time in, his senior year in high school.
Actually
and
playing.
Go
Yeah, I
against
agree with that.
competition is more like, what now?
Well, by actually playing football, having 15 games to actually be on the field and develop as a passer. I agree with that.
A lot of players that, are hot shot, 5-star quarterbacks, Blake Barnett, John Forcade, and a couple of them, they're supposed to do this, that, and the other, and they never could find their place because they didn't get developed quick enough or soon enough or, long enough. And so they just ended up transferring from one school to the next and the next and the next and the next. And I just think as far as development in high school, playing those games and learning more about, what football is all about. And I know the guys rated high, but, you can throw those ratings out of, they mean something, but they don't mean anything when the live bullets start to flying at you.
Right. Well, he gets to Ohio State. Everybody else is on the same level as him. He's still got to win the job, and he's probably going to have to sit behind C.J. Stroud for 2 years. So there's negatives there.
Don't you think actually playing a year will help him more than sitting on the bench and watching everybody else? Because he's got probably 2 or 3 guys in front of him, and he's not going to get many snaps this year if he gets any at all.
No, I agree with that.
I just think.
There's the difference is learning from Ryan Day and learning from his high school coach. But his high school coach is still a big reason why he's where he's at, I'm sure. So, it all kind of blends together. There's positives and negatives on each side of it. I agree.
Oh, like I say, I'm not really, I don't have a dog in the hunt.
Right.
But I just think that he would develop better staying in high school. And also, there's mental maturity and maturity, being with your peers and that sort of thing, instead of being jumped up and, like double promoted. Another idea, the transfer portal. I'm a traditionalist, but listen, if you want to play and you're not playing at a school, transfer somewhere else. I don't know why anybody would call you a quitter. I don't understand that. But what I do not like about the transfer portal is, just like Nick Saban says, it's not going to hurt him. It's going to help him. If you're ever in a situation where you've had a bunch of injuries, then you're cherry picking from other schools where the kids are developed and you're taking that player away. That's kind of my 2 cents worth. And plus, if coaches kind of held players back that wanted to transfer instead of not letting them transfer, this rule would never come about.
True.
In my opinion.
True. But I mean,
listen, thanks for taking. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say is, I had to transfer 3 or 4 different times before I wound up at Alabama, right? Like, because of extenuating circumstances. None of it was ever down to the idea that I was a quitter. I had a growing family and all the financial stuff that goes along with it. And then I end up at Alabama and now I'm doing my dream job, right? Like, some people just have to go down a crazy road to get there so that they can get to where they need to be. And we can look at Henry To'oTo'o because we all actually looked at why he transferred, and it was because he messed up in where he chose to play football. It went back all the way to the day that he chose Tennessee over Alabama. And then when the transfer portal rules were beginning to formulate, that's when Henry To'oTo'o was saying, well, that's kind of what happened. So let's go to Alabama and let's rectify this mistake,
Well, listen, everybody's path is different. Plus, the path you take, you really don't know what the reality of that path is until you get there.
Absolutely.
But, I appreciate you taking my call, and y'all have a good day.
No doubt. You too, George. Always appreciate it. That's the end of the show. Man, I could rage on about it for a long, long time. I will say this. There are negatives to the transfer portal, and it sucks that some guys don't find a home. But at the same time, everybody's got to go down their own path. And if you can't play, you can't play. And maybe that's the way you find out, and you needed to find out. No matter the case, the Jay Barker Show is up next. Ryan Fowler from 2 to 6. I'll be back with you tomorrow at 11 a.m. For Bryant Horn, Mason Woods, I'm Jacob Harrison. This has been Off the Edge. See you tomorrow.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing